What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today's a back and bicep workout in a different gym. And it's called the Factory Gym, and it's a pretty cool gym. You'll see a little later what this gym has to offer. But let's get into the workout of this back, because we're starting out with a lat pull down on a hammer strength machine, and with that I mean a plate loaded machine, and it just gives a different feeling to the lats. Because a regular lat pull down with a bar, you're simply fixed in that position with your arms. With this one you can move your wrists however you want them, however you feel your back the best, and the handles converge at the top, which means the stretch is emphasized as well. You can kind of compare it with the ending of the narrow grip pull down and a lat pull down at the very end when you're squeezing it. So the stretch is the V-bar, the narrow grip, and the contraction is the lat pull down. So that's why it's a very good exercise to do, and you can actually go pretty heavy. I actually didn't realize how heavy I was going right here, but I can still maintain pretty good form and do quite a heavy weight, maximizing the stretch on the lats, because guys, the stretch is to me the most important aspect about a back training. You want your back to be wider, so you literally want to stretch it to a wider degree to make it wider. And then it is time for some rowing movements, because I really want to work on the back thickness as well. Remember, pull downs enhance the back width, and rowing enhance the back thickness. They both of course do both, but it's just a couple of percent more in the direction of thickness or width depending on the exercise you do. That's why you do a lot of different exercises to hit as many different muscles in the back as you can to make it as full as possible. But this is a very nice exercise indeed. It is a simple row. You can compare it to a regular dumbbell row, but I really like this one because of the weight that you can use and the support you have at your stomach or chest, at least in the front of your body. And this support makes sure that you don't use your obliques too much and your side abs, you know. Usually when you see a lot of big bodybuilders do these heavy dumbbell rows, they also work those obliques and they will actually increase in size, and that is not what we want as a classic bodybuilder. So that is why this chest support is a really good addition to an exercise like this. You can go a lot heavier, feel the maximum stretch, and purely focus on the back, which it is all about. And by the way guys, there is a July the 4th discount on vintagegenetics.com with code July4. So it's July 4th, it's Independence Day today in America, so that's why the discount is here for the rest of this week. So take advantage of it when you can. And here you can see the gym itself. As you can see, a lot of cool sayings: no pain, no gain, train insane and don't complain. A lot of rhyming stuff there. But it's this kind of environment that really tells you what kind of gym it is, what kind of a setting the owner wants this gym to be in, and it is pretty hardcore, as you can see. So you don't have to be afraid of, you know, shouting or whatever the way you train. It is all accepted. And you can kind of hear it by the background music as well, that is kind of regulated by the people training here. You can literally put your phone in there and you know, play your own playlist depending on who is there first. So that is either what you are subjected to or what you can enjoy depending on the music. But this one is a very heavy exercise by now. You can do this a lot heavier than a dumbbell, of course, because you can really focus more on the back and not really about keeping balance or keeping your body straight on the bench. Just your back, stretching it and contracting it to the max. And now we are about to do one of my favorite exercises, the seated row. And how I like to do this is the classic way. I don't like to keep my back straight. I actually like to stretch my back a little bit, at least as much as the machine allows you to. Sometimes you can stretch a lot further than other times, depending on the gym, depending on the machine, but you can always stretch further than a straight back. Why would you do this? Because you then not only use the lower back, but also the actual lats. So this is an exercise that works both the back width, but also the back thickness. And because the range of motion is longer, means the time under tension is longer. And when time under tension is longer, the weight that you use doesn't have to be as heavy, which is another advantage to this way of performing the exercise, is that when you can already do the maximum stack, for example, on this machine, but your range of motion isn't fully maximized yet, you can still make it heavier for yourself by going, to a longer stretch or a longer contraction, making sure the time under tension is maximized, making the exercise more difficult and progressing your muscle growth, which it is all about. And now it's time for the T-bar row, and the T-bar row is one of my favorite classic exercises too. Pretty much the entire workout is comprised of exercises that I like, because it's a new gym, so you want to try those all out. But this one I used to do very heavy, but I'm actually going pretty light here, and it's already pretty heavy because of the exercises I did previously. And don't forget, you can do this exercise in two different ways. You can do the regular way, which is like this, which is basically really focusing on keeping your back arched and focusing on your lower back. But the way I like to do it is I like to stretch all the way down, as you will see in a minute right here. And this is to really stretch the lats out as well. So your upper body doesn't stay upright entirely, it goes down a little bit, making sure that the lats are stretched, kind of the same principle as during the seated row, thus contracting and using the entire back. And those were enough back exercises for today, because now it's time for some bicep action. We're doing a close grip preacher curl right here, and this close grip enhances the bicep peak. The closer the grip on the bar, the more the tension shifts to the outside of the biceps, and when the outside head is larger than the inside head, the peak will increase. And there are a lot of people who say you cannot really change the peak of your bicep, but you got two bicep heads. And just think about it. You can shift the tension on each of these heads. So what would happen if you focus more on one side of your bicep, one head of your bicep, in comparison to the other? That side that you focus on more will increase in size more, and it will change the look of your bicep. You cannot make it longer, you cannot make it shorter, but you can increase it in size in comparison to the inner bicep head, increasing the bicep peak. Now obviously this is a very long process, and it only works if you are very consistent with it and you actually use mind-muscle connection. And this is going to be a heavy set, and usually doing heavy sets like this, I don't go all the way down because of the risk of overstretching the tendon of the bicep. I used to have injuries in my left bicep because of this, so that's why I'm kind of wary about doing this. So I'm still be able to go pretty heavy, but as long as I don't go all the way down, I can still get a great contraction. Just make sure you go all the way down on every other lighter exercise. Sometimes a full range of motion, if you take it to the extreme, is actually dangerous when you're doing it with a heavy weight. That's why I always advise to use a light weight when doing a full range of motion, extreme full range of motion, just to make sure that you can actually handle the weight, because as I said, it will become heavier the longer the time under tension is. And after this exercise, guys, it is time for some alternating dumbbell curls. And this one, the contraction here is quite incredible if you really focus on it with your mind. So again, mind-muscle connection is important here, especially because it's an alternating exercise. You want to feel it in both arms equally. A lot of people also message me about having disbalanced muscles or disbalanced strength in each arm. What you want to do then is, for example, I'm doing these alternating curls, and the moment that, for example, your left arm ends first or stops first, you don't keep going with your right arm. You immediately stop with the right arm in order to, compensate for the loss of strength in your left one, so that eventually it will balance out again. And this is what a lot of people don't do. They basically start out with the strong side and then try to match it with the weak side, and then you need a spotter to actually match the two because you're starting out with the strong side. And that is not what you want to do. Bodybuilding is about a balance, about proportion, and about knowing your body. And this will be the final exercise of the day, the alternating hammer curl. I like to do this seated to actually, it's a different feel to me. You can use at the end a little bit of cheat curls, controlled cheat curls if you know how to do them, by moving your body a little bit, but minimizing the amount that your biceps aren't doing, because when you're standing up, you can use a lot of momentum without knowing it. Of course, right here my upper body is moving a little bit as well, but it's moving along with how my biceps are feeling. So it's moving exactly as I want it to move to feel the maximum stretch and the maximum contraction. And that only makes sense if you've been lifting long enough and know exactly what to feel, when to feel, and how to feel it. But the hammer curls really work the upper portion, the brachialis of your biceps, basically making them thicker, and your forearms are also being worked. And that was the workout of today, guys. It's pretty awesome gym. I'm probably going to work out here more often. And pretty much the summer holidays for me have begun, so you can expect a lot more videos to come your way. I literally got a list of video ideas coming up, so you guys stay tuned because a lot more videos are coming your way. And don't forget, guys, it's a flash sale, so €5 or dollars off on your entire order. Doesn't matter what you order. Store-wide discount from 3 to 9 July, so this entire week, because of the 4th of July, Independence Day. And I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.